You are watching QTV broadcasting from the Gambia, and this is the news with me, Jenna Vasonko. Coming up in our headlines. Work is set to commence soon on an $80 million funded road expansion project ahead of the OIC summit next year. Turkey celebrates the 95th anniversary of the proclamation of the Republic of Turkey. We look at how imported furniture is affecting local carpenters. And the United Nations system in the Gambia commemorates 73rd anniversary of UN Charter on Human and People's Rights Day. Those are our top stories, and now the news in detail. Stay with us. Work is set to commence soon on an $80 million funded road expansion project ahead of the hosting of the 14th Summit of Heads of States and Government of the Organization for Islamic Cooperation in November 2019. The 22-kilometer stretch from Sting Corner to Airport Junction via traffic lights, as Babukar Sisi reports, will affect occupants within the 40-meter reserve along the road.
At a press briefing organized by the Secretariat of the Organization for Islamic Cooperation in the Gambia, Bandin Silla, speaking on behalf of the CEO, explains that a multi-sectoral road reserve committee has been engaged in pre-feasibility work to facilitate the execution of the road project, and some impediments have been encountered along the way. Sane reveals the actions already taken and further actions to be taken.
A stop work notice has been issued to all active construction sites along the road corridor between Sting Corner and the Airport Junction. To this effect, the public is hereby notified that a notice will be issued by the Department of Physical Planning and Housing to all occupants within the 40-meter reserve along the 22-kilometer stretch of the road. All those served with the notice should contact the Department of Physical Planning and bring along any relevant documents within 14 days. The cooperation of the public is highly solicited for the smooth execution of the projects. Furthermore, the Road Reserves Committee has noticed the presence of commercial billboards and outdoor advertisements along the road. The owners will be duly notified for the decommissioning and relocation of the billboards. Used cars dealers displaying their cars within the 40-meter buffer of the highway will also be impacted by the work expansion on the highway.
On the issue of compensation and relocating affected occupants, Dauda Dabo, Department of Land and Surveys, clarifies.
The public is yet to know that. We are on the sensitization. We will map out all those affected. We'll serve them with notices, and we ask them in these notices, whoever is served with this notice, know that you are affected. Come to the office with any relevant document regarding your occupation on this site. When we know that number, then there we will do what we call, if there is necessary, to compensate, because we will expect that this is a road reserve that has been there for years. But there might be people also that are still on this side legally. They might have obtained papers from the relevant institutions. As such, compensation has to be worked out. So when we work out the compensation, and their relocation issue also has to be worked out.
The legal advisor to the Secretariat, Alba Metal, says the due process of the law will be respected and adhered to during the implementation of the project.
Notices that are to be issued, any rights that are to be interfered with would be based on the laws of the Gambia. And they are the custodians of those things, especially the Department of Physical Planning and the Ministry of Works and the National Road Authority. Their rights, their powers are vested on them by law. The Secretariat is working as an agency of the Gambia government. So every action we are going to be taking into the future is going to be based on the existing laws.
On the issue of the traffic congestion during the construction period, George Jatta of National Road Authority explains that there will be traffic diversions that will be well constructed to accommodate traffic and ease congestion. For QTV News, I am Babukar Sise.
The ambassador of the Republic of Turkey to the Gambia, His Excellency Ismail Sifa Yusir, says Turkey will continue to support the new dispensation in the Gambia. He was speaking on Monday at a reception in celebration of the 95th anniversary of the proclamation of the Republic of Turkey. The event was attended by senior government officials, National Assembly members, and members of the diplomatic and consular corps. Issa Jallo was there and he now tells us more.
Diplomats, senior government officials, and a cross-section of dignitaries thronged a local hotel at Cape Point to grace the celebration of the birth of the Republic of Turkey. After delivering a message on behalf of the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Ambassador Yusir spoke about his country's approach to international relations. He said Turkey widened its ties with other countries on political dialogue, economic independence, and mutual interest through a proactive and dynamic foreign policy. On relations between the Gambia and Turkey, he described the Gambia as Turkey's true friend. He expressed gratitude to the Gambia for supporting her fight against external threats. The ambassador reaffirms Turkey's commitment to the Gambia, which he said was strengthened by the new era in the Gambia.
I would also like to note that Turkey and the Gambia have remarkable cooperation at the international arena, particularly at the United Nations specialized agencies and Islamic Cooperation Organization. The Gambia has always supported Turkey on the international platforms. Turkey has also been the staunch supporter of the Gambian interest in those fora. I would like to emphasize that another important aspect of our cooperation has been in the field of capacity building and experience sharing among institutions. Turkish government has been actively involved in the capacity building of Gambian institutions and providing aid in kind. Within the scope of capacity building, trainings, doctors, nurses, hospital administrators, diplomats, soldiers, and law enforcement personnel have continued to receive on-the-job training programs in Turkey during 2018.
Ambassador Yusir disclosed that the Turkish government and the private Turkish universities collectively provided 45 higher education scholarships to Gambian students between 2018 and 2019. He used the occasion to announce the beginning of direct flights between Istanbul and Banjul from the 29th November and the opening of the Turkish Cooperation and Coordination Agency (TICA) office in Banjul. The Minister of Fisheries, Water Resources and National Assembly Affairs, James Gomez, said relations between the Gambia and Turkey dated as far back as Gambia's independence. He, however, noted that bilateral relations were more comprehensive and multifaceted after the opening of embassies in both countries in 2011. Mr. Gomez referred to Turkey as an important strategic partner and a trusted ally to the Gambia. He assured the Gambia's commitment to working with Turkey to achieve common objectives.
Many bilateral agreements, protocols, and memorandum of understanding have been concluded and signed over the years, aimed at the implementation of the Development Cooperation Program. The Joint Economic Commission between the two countries have also reinforced the cooperation that ties through an only engagement between the two countries, but also as a private sector level through business links between Istanbul and Banjul.
Both Turkey and the Gambia being members of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, Mr. Gomez underlined Turkey's willingness to support the Gambia to successfully host the next OIC summit in Banjul. Issa Jallo for QTV News.
Over 125 youth have successfully completed a 20-day intensive training on construction works. The $1 million project is funded by the Japanese government through the International Labour Organization. The aim of the project is to encourage young people to be self-employed, considering the high unemployment rate in the Gambia. After 20 days of intensive training in construction works for the construction and rehabilitations of feeder roads in the fisheries, tourism and agriculture sectors, the trainees were recently certified and approved to commence work as constructors in a newly introduced technology, Donut The Gender Balance Project also included 30 backway returnees and 10 hard of hearing youth. Mamadi Damfa, Acting Director of Employment, Ministry of Trade, Industry and Regional Integration, called on trainees to be committed to their new profession and to always remember that they were trained to become job creators, not job seekers.
It is indeed a great pleasure for my ministry and the entire Gambian people to train almost 125 young people on construction work to enhance their livelihood. As we told you during the official opening of the project, this is 1 year ILO's project through the support from the Japanese government through their supplementary budget. Though the project is earmarked for only 1 year with a funding resource envelope of $1 million US, we hope that your training would enable you to enhance your skills and also to become entrepreneurs instead of job seekers.
BWAT, specialists in road maintenance using the DONU technology, advised the trainees to come together to attract contracts from the government and private sector. Mohammed Haidara expressed delight for being part of the trainees and called on government and private sector to provide them with contracts and to generally support young people to reduce unemployment rate in the country. Carpentry was one of the booming businesses in previous years, which involved the carving and production of wood to furniture. But recent years, the business is not as it used to be because of the importation of second-hand furniture in the country. Ibrahim Abalde tells us more.
Years ago, carpentry used to be one of the most successful businesses in the Gambia, which makes many young Gambians to venture into the skilled trade. Many carpenters have achieved a lot, with some owning houses, others sending their children to school even up to university level through proceeds from the trade. However, in recent years, a lot has changed. What used to be a booming business is now a frustrating venture for many local carpenters. This has raised questions as to what led to change of flow in terms of income in the carpentry industry. Modu Mansa owns a carpentry workshop at Churchillstown, and he believes the importation of second-hand furniture to the country is seriously affecting the business. The customers are not supporting the Gambian carpenters. Rather, they buy imported furniture, and most of this container furniture are not very strong because most of them are made of chipboard. They buy these furniture and do maintenance on them, which costs them a lot. Njogu Njai has been in the carpentry business for many years and has a lot of experience. He also shared with us some of the constraints they face. There are many imported goods in the country, which is affecting our business. Some said the imported furniture are cheaper. When we have a lot of imported goods, it will be difficult for us to sell. And with carpentry, we pay our employees, we should be encouraged. Mr. Lamin Conte said the container business is affecting carpenters in many ways.
It's affecting carpentry not in a small way, because most people think nowadays that these container materials are far better. So as a result, everybody is going in for container. And if you look at it, it has disadvantages because the container materials are very, very, very expensive. Not everybody can afford them. And in fact, it is making carpenters not to be able to sell their own materials that they are producing. We are yearning for our youths to go into carpentry, to go into other trades. But then if we are not also buying from them, that will discourage them.
Masise is a second-hand furniture business dealer. The reason is people prefer second-hand furniture because they believe it is stronger than the one made in the Gambia. Well, it's all about choice. Some people want to buy the new one, others prefer buying the second-hand because they believe it's cheaper. Bubakar Saho is the Business Development Manager and Projects at the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
The Gambia, like any other developing country, is having a genuine concern over importations of goods. particularly ones that can be rightfully produced here in the Gambia. You would understand that with importations, we are not only doing away with the limited forex that we have, we are equally doing away with potential jobs. We're also doing away with potential tax revenue. So in that context, it only makes sense for any economy to do what it needs to do to protect the indigenous businesses. The importers are businesses here in the Gambia, and the carpenters, as you put it, are also businesses here in the Gambia. So at the end of the day, as a nation, we have to make a decision with regards to what best suits the interest of this country.
Mr. Saho added that efforts are being done to promote Gambian-made products.
To reduce importations, it is only logical that we try as much as possible and promote made-in-Gambia products and also support our indigenous businesses, because they have a very strategic position as far as our economic dispensation is concerned, our social dispensation as well. So we will continue to advocate that indigenous businesses be protected, and we do as much as we can to promote made-in-Gambia products.
Ibrahim Balde, QTV News.
Delegates drawn from across the ECOWAS sub-region are in the Gambia for the annual 35th Ordinary General Assembly of ECOWAS Brown Card Scheme. The theme for the two-day meeting is regional integration through insurance, achievement, challenges and prospects. Aliou Cisse witnessed the opening ceremony and he now tells us more.
The ECOWAS Brown Card Scheme is an integration instrument established by Protocol AP 1582 signed by the head of states and governments on the 29th May 1982 in Cotonou, Benin. The main objective of the scheme is to guarantee the victims of road accident a prompt and fair compensation of damages caused by non-resident motorists from ECOWAS member states visiting their territory. The Brown Card Scheme functions through a network of 14 national bureaus disseminated in each of the 14 countries. Each national bureau performs two main functions of making the brown card available to non-resident motorists and carry out investigation and settlement of claims arising from accidents incurred by brown card holders. After 35 years since formation, delegates from across the sub-region are meeting in the Gambia for the 35th Ordinary General Assembly of Council of Bureau of the ECOWAS Brown Card Insurance Scheme. The theme for the convergence is 35 years of regional integration through insurance, achievements, challenges, and prospects. In his welcome remarks, Dawda Sarr, chairman of Gambia National Bureau, said the meeting will create a unique opportunity to interact, discuss, and generate innovative ideas and instruments that will facilitate the problem of the scheme. The theme, he said, is very apt, as it will avail delegates the platform to critically review the general effects of the scheme and its relative impact on using insurance as a vehicle for regional integration. Chairman Council of Bureau Suleiman Cisse said during the period under review, the institution has continued to deliver on its foremost mandate, which is to put an end to the suffering of the victims of road traffic accidents through prompt and fair settlement of cross-border claims. William Coker of West Africa Insurance Company Association wants to see more attention given to the scheme by the ECOWAS Commission while assuring of his support.
This move was also positioned to enhance and fast-track the integration agenda in the region. The Economic Community of West African States, realizing that the scheme would add value to their own broader agenda of achieving sub-regional integration along socio-economic lines for our people, worked with WICA, and the project was handed over to them. WICA also believing at the time that the scheme would achieve much more and would reach further in the hands of ECOWAS.
Vaba Geflo, head of ECOWAS mission in the Gambia, said the ECOWAS Brown Card plays an important role in ensuring free movement of goods and people within the ECOWAS sub-region.
Over the years, we have observed that significant achievements have been made by member countries of the Brown Card Scheme, ranging from the creation of the National Bureau, either by an Act of Parliament or some other legal instruments, and also the support of the national governments in ratifying the protocol establishing the scheme into their local laws. All of these initiatives we view as commendable, as they are truly meeting the desired purposes. However, a lot more still needs to be done as there are still victims of road accidents in the sub-region who have not been compensated, and as such the major purpose of the scheme is yet to be achieved.
Speaking on behalf of President Barrow, Finance Minister Mamboudi Njie encouraged member states to promote the Brown Card initiative while assuring government's commitment in providing enabling environment for the National Bureau.
35 years ago in the life of an institution is not a mean achievement. Permit me to first of all congratulate the founding fathers and you, the active participants, for keeping the dreams of ECOWAS alive with regards to free movement of people, goods, and services across the sub-region. As the signatory to the protocol and other supplementary protocols relating to ECOWAS Brown Card third-party motor insurance, my colleagues, the heads of states and government, and I share in the challenges confronting the ECOWAS Brown Card scheme and are prepared to put the necessary policy framework in place to advance the scheme.
Delegates are therefore expected to come up with practical approaches and mechanisms that will lessen the challenges of the scheme and support its prospect at the same time. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cissé.
The United Nations system in the Gambia on Monday held a press conference at the UN House in Cape Point as part of activities commemorating the 73rd anniversary of UN Charter on Human and People's Rights Day. The theme for this year's UN Day is promoting quality education for sustainable development in the Gambia. Rohijata tells us more.
The United Nations is a body which has been operating in the country for the last 4 decades. It serves as a collective system to support the national development initiatives of the government as per the Vision 2020 document. The National Development Plan, as well as the Sustainable Development Goals and other international declarations that support human and people's rights. The United Nations Resident Coordinator, Seraphine Wakana, says the UN is committed to ensuring that every child has access to quality education because it's a fundamental tool in national development. She said, as part of strategies to mark the UN Day, the UN is ready to ensure that the smooth operation of the rule of law, maintenance of peace and stability, international security, as well as respect for human rights.
Promote its mainstreaming into the development policies and programs in the countdown to 23rd. The importance of Sustainable Development Goal 4 in the Gambia cannot be overemphasized. It speaks to the core of the future we want in the Gambia, a country where all citizens have equal access to quality and relevant education, ensuring that no Gambian is left behind.
Sandra Latouf, the UNICEF country representative, says quality education should be a national priority for everyone. She said WFP works in close collaboration with government to ensure that school-age children in most communities have adequate access to safe and nutritious food throughout the year.
It's the 20% budget that the government should advocate to really get for education, but it's not only money, it's also having quality, and quality meaning that the teacher need to be trained. We need to ensure that the children have access.
Addressing on the need for quality and sustainable development in the Gambia, Nessie Golokai Gould, Deputy Representative, United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, said their main objective is to foster inclusive economic growth and poverty reduction to meet the Sustainable Development Goals. She said UNDP has prioritized its support to successfully undertake transition to democracy and ensure the consolidation of principles of the rule of law, human rights, accountability, transparency, and meaningful participation in the country's development, she noted.
ITC YEP also has a very focused training program on youth employment. They have been rolling out a number of programs across the country in terms of supporting youth entrepreneurship training, but also business advisory support as well. UNCDF, which is the UN Capital Development Fund, will also be rolling out a job creation program which is very focused at the rural youth.
Reporting for QTV News, I am Rohijata.
Before we end this news bulletin, we recap our main headlines. Work is set to commence soon on an $80 million funded road project ahead of the hosting of the 14th Summit of Heads of States and Government of the Organization for Islamic Cooperation in November 2018. The 22-kilometer stretch from Sting Corner to Airport Junction via traffic lights will affect occupants within the 40-meter reserve along the road. The ambassador of the Republic of Turkey to the Gambia, His Excellency Ismail Sifa Yusir, says Turkey will continue to support the new dispensation in the Gambia. He was speaking on Monday at a reception in celebration of the 95th anniversary of the proclamation of the Republic of Turkey. Carpentry was one of the booming businesses in previous years, which involved the carving and production of wood to furniture, but recent years the business is not as it used to be because of the importation of second-hand furniture in the country. The United Nations system in the Gambia commemorates the 73rd anniversary of UN Charter on Human and People's Rights. The theme for this year's UN Day is promoting quality education for sustainable development in the Gambia. That is all we have for you in this edition of QTV News. Do join us tomorrow same time for more news. Do stay tuned for more interesting programs. Thank you for your company.